time for another episode of The Oil Stream with Dustin Nielsen and Tom Gazzola, presented by Popeye's Louisiana Kitchen.
What's going on, everybody? Happy Wednesday, and welcome to another episode of The Oil Stream. Nielsen and Gazzola back with you once again. Special guest today as well. We'll get to that in just a second. As always, The Oil Stream is brought to you by Popeye's Louisiana Kitchen, now open out in St. Albert's. If you want to go grab some of those delicious chicken sandwiches, they're available there and opened in Windermere about 5-6 months ago too. So they continue to grow, and we're pretty sure it's just because of our partnership with The Oil Stream. So that's nice. Tommy, what's up, buddy? How you doing?
I'm good, Dusty. Great to catch up with you on the Smash Hit Nielsen show on our station this morning. I felt great. I got a little activation in bright and early, and I actually showered and did my hair for you guys today, so God bless.
That is nice. Luke Gazdick joins us as well. You've seen him pop up on Sportsnet lately. He's teamed up with Coolbet as well, who I do a bunch of stuff with, and doing a little bit of sports betting now because that's obviously blown up in Ontario. So we thought we'd catch up with Luke today. Luke, how you doing, buddy? Thanks for the time.
I'm good, boys. How we doing?
Gangster.
Is that how you always viewed him, Tommy? Straight up gangster or what?
Yeah, well, I mean, Luke was a badass, but I always thought of myself a little bit of a gangster, to be honest with you. But that's just me. You know what? Teach their own. If you don't believe that, that's fine. That's okay. I can live with it.
With that hair, maybe I could. That's convincing.
Thank you. See, he always had my back.
Luke, did you view Gazzola as a gangster? Because I've known Tommy for a decade, and I just don't see it, man.
No, I didn't. But one of my favorite employees when I was playing for the Oilers, for sure. There's so many people you meet and you interact with all the time. You end up bonding friendships with guys. And Gaz, as I would call him, it's my name. But Gaz, I was calling him, ended up being one of my good buddies while I was working there. So I have a lot of time for Tommy.
Excellent. Well, we appreciate the time that you're giving us today here on the Oil Stream as well. You're keeping busy. Let's just start with a little bit of work that you're doing for Sportsnet, popping on the desk there with Gene Principe. It always looks fun watching Gino on TV. Is it a riot riding shotgun with him on the desk there, even when you guys aren't on camera?
Man, Dusty, it's been so cool, actually. I kind of got cold called to do that, and I didn't have to fly out to Edmonton. I could stay in Toronto. We do all the shooting from the Rogers studio here in Midtown, Toronto. I was actually just texting Gino before I got on here. We have 2 games next week. We're doing Minnesota and I believe Nashville next week. So we're going to do that. But it's been fun doing it and getting, kind of get my feet wet on live TV. So it's been a good experience.
You know what, though, Gaz? I have to say, I think you're enjoying it because you're chumming it up with Gino. You guys are complimenting each other. You're talking about each other's wardrobe. I know Gene's really hard to work with, but you're making it look easy. So you're a natural on there. And I'm not just kissing your butt on camera on purpose. I could tell, Gaz said some really nice things about when we worked together. He was a player. I was working Oilers TV. But, you could tell that he had, the gumption to actually handle himself when it came to on camera. And it wasn't the standard, well, we played hard and, I think we really had a shot tonight. No, he would give you an honest opinion, an honest take, and it came across really comfortable. And you were at ease, and it's starting to show in the professional side now that you're doing work with Gino at Sportsnet. So I just have to give you props for that, and you could pay me later for saying that.
Well, I appreciate the kind words, and I think me and Gino clicked pretty easily. I think when I first started, I was kind of trying to not only just kind of rehearse stuff. I would think of what I was going to say, before I said it. But then Gene kind of just eased me into it. And now we're at a point where I make notes during the periods, but we kind of just vibe with each other. And he's such a pro. He's such a good host. And I know that if I finish the sentence too early or too long, he's going to help me out with it. And he's just strung me along this whole way. And it's been great. We have great chemistry. Sorry.
You mentioned that, you kind of just got a call out of nowhere and decided to hop on it. When you were playing, did you kind of think that maybe media would be something that you'd like to get into? Like you see a guy like Louis DeBrusque, who, is a tough guy in the National Hockey League. He's a great analyst. I do a podcast with Matt Cassian, and he does Tommy's pre and post game, and he was that enforcer, and he did it the same way, and he's pretty good at it too. So I don't know if it's just something about the job that you guys do or what, but did you think about that?
Well, boys, I always say the best broadcasters, and like I know I'm an analyst, but the best broadcasters are backup goalies and tough guys because they spend the most time watching the games from ice level. So I spend a lot of time at ice level, the best seats in the house, being able to watch and dissect and analyze like all these guys that I played with. So it makes sense that a lot of us are, pretty decent at their jobs. I got to have dinner with Kelly Rudy the other night, outstanding guy, but Louis is another guy too, who I have looked up to for a long time. When I was in there in Edmonton, we would always sit down and, shoot the breeze, and I would ask him about how his transition was. I love hockey, I didn't watch it for a bit after I retired. It was tough for me to watch, but now I'm getting back into it. And you know what? At the end of the day, I get to sit around and drink coffee and talk about hockey. It's not a bad gig,
Yeah, you can have beers after too, right? And on top of that,
there might have been a couple of those after that a couple times.
Yeah, exactly. I knew you'd love it. And on top of that, your point about like backup goalies and tough guys enforcers, yeah, they had the best seat in the house. And I always found that they were probably the most animated characters on the team, that if you needed to just shoot the breeze with someone, and maybe if you had a question, they'd give it to you, and then you could talk about something completely different and be like, wow, that guy's a pretty good dude. I like talking to him, even if it wasn't about hockey.
I know, and that's why I just try to keep it real on Sportsnet. I know there's some restrictions and stuff, but I just try to speak my mind, and like I said, not like rehearsing or talking. I just speak from the heart. So.
Yeah, that's when it comes across the best. I mean, I do a lot of CFL and TSN, and you can't really, if you're over, I prep a lot, but if you over prep, it's just going to mess with your head, right? So you just got to kind of know what you're doing. You're going to go and go from there, man. It's just a matter of reps too, right? Like the more you do it, the easier it's going to get, 100%. And it's just going to pick up. So no, that's good. Quickly, we'll get to what you're doing with the betting stuff here in just a second, but when you said, you didn't watch for a while, obviously, you're not playing anymore. And what brought you back around so quickly? Was it just like, okay, man, like I just miss hockey. I got to start watching it again all the time. Or was there something else?
I don't know. Like COVID hit and the bubble year just didn't seem real to me. And I hadn't retired formally at the time, but I just pushed it aside for a second. I went and spent some time by myself. And then as soon as stuff started opening back up, I went to the Leafs home opener this year. And I was like in the presence of it, and I was just like, "This is great!" Like, I miss this. I miss talking about this, and I miss watching this. So, I've got back into it heavily, and I don't watch too many teams now. But the Oil and the Leafs, obviously, like living in Toronto, I watch pretty much every Leaf game. So, just being around it and being back in it, and having the fans back in the building, that meant a lot for me, because to be honest, I didn't want to play if there was no fans there. That bubble year must have been a lot on those guys, because I just wanted to play in front of fans. But having the city electric, we got the CN Tower here, it's blue and white every Leaf game, that kind of brought me back into it.
Yeah, people are pretty fired up, maybe outside of the 5-1 lead that slipped away last night for the Leafs. But if we talk Leafs on the Oil Stream, people are going to kill us.
They blew that last night.
Well, Florida did it against, what was it, Jersey last week, right? They were down 6-1 and won a game. 2 in a row, man. I like those Panthers out of the East. I'm a Toronto guy, but the Panthers look real good right now. Yeah, they do look good. All right, let's dive into last night's game, and we'll get to the Ken Morrison Remax question of the day a little bit later on. Tommy, last night, the Oilers, wasn't your typical 5-3 Oilers win, 5-2 Oilers win, McDavid 4 points, things along those lines. They kind of, I don't want to say grinded it out, because it was a little bit of a snooze fest for 40, 45 minutes, but they don't win many games like that. So what's it say about the team to kind of just hang around, get one, and then win it? Do you think that's a big one for that group?
Big one to a certain extent, but what was impressive was how they stayed patient, Dusty. Like, they didn't get away from sticking to the system, back-checking hard, being sound defensively. And that was while San Jose basically took away the middle from them the entire game. And they didn't seem to get a lot of chances. They didn't penetrate the middle, and it didn't seem to frustrate them. It's almost like they knew or expected that at some point they would get that one small sliver of opportunity and they'd have a chance to take advantage, which they did shorthanded. A great play by Nurse, Hyman, and then Nugent Hopkins to finish it. So it's a different win for them. Were they sluggish too offensively? Yeah, I guess they admitted to it last night. But I think Mike Smith was obviously the big story. And the way he played before he even made that save, got hurt, made the pass to McDavid. Like, I thought to myself, like, that's his best game of the year. It's too bad they're down 1-0. And sure enough, he was a big part of the win. It's a different win, and I think it goes towards and speaks to the confidence that the group has right now. They've won 5 in a row. They're clicking. They've won 9 on home ice in a row. Could be 10 if they beat Colorado. That's going to be a big ask on Saturday. So I feel like it's a confidence thing with this group where they're like, well, you could throw anything at us, and we're still going to find a way to maybe cash in and turn it into some points.
Luke, how much of that confidence thing that Tommy's talking about, and I agree with him, I think he's right, but how much of that comes from maybe the belief that they have with what Woodcroft's done for this group? Like, do you think it's different for this team now with their mindset as opposed to maybe it was 3 months ago?
Yeah, I think so. But I think this win last night was really big because we were talking about how they usually win. Like, they've been winning 6-5, all these big numbers. But the fact that they could close in like late and have Nuge come up with that shorthanded was outstanding. I played for Woody. I know how he operates, and it's a pretty regimented system. And he's very detail oriented. He loves his video. He loves showing guys clips. And I think he's been great for the squad. And I think you can see it because they look like they have a little more, system in their play. Like they look like a little more structure. And I think he's been great for them. He's a different coach. Like he does things a little differently. But he's been in the game for 1,000 games. And I have a lot of respect for him. I think he's done a great job with the boys so far.
When you mentioned like regimented and stuff, like compared to other coaches, like pretty drastically, or is it just a little bit different?
He's just a little meticulous, I would say. Like
okay.
He likes things done in a specific way. Whereas old school coaches I played for Todd McClelland. Daly wasn't that old school, but they just had like routines where he is more detail oriented. He looks at like the finer aspects of the game. And he looks after like everyone on the team, whether you're a healthy scratch or you're Connor McDavid. Like I don't want to say he treats you the same, but he definitely like looks after everyone differently and kind of, I don't want to say micromanage because that's kind of a negative thing, but he really does look after everybody on his squad.
Tommy, I'd say if, micromanage, we look at it negatively, but if you can do it properly, it's probably not a bad thing, right?
No, I mean, we hear a lot of good things from the guys that played for him. Gaz, one of them, for Jay Woodcroft. So if he does it right and you don't feel like he's imposing on you as a player, because I think you probably want to have a little bit of separation from the coaching staff just to be comfortable. And if he has a good way of finding that balance and fine-tuning it where players don't feel like, oh, man, this guy's all over me, then that's fine. But, he's got the players' attention with the Oilers right now. And Gaz is right. Maybe, the structure and the attention to detail, we've seen the results, but maybe they were too loose under Dave Tippett. And Dave Tippett would just keep going, McDavid, Draisiatl, get us out of this hole. And it became this funk that it turned into a rut that the walls kept getting deeper and deeper as they went further and further. So, fresh perspective, and it's led to a lot of good results with Jay Woodcroft for sure.
Luke, they didn't have Leon Draisaitl last night, but I want your thoughts on him because he's buried 50 again. He's got 50 assists. He's a 100-point guy. He kills penalties. He takes key faceoffs for the team. And now, look, I mean, it's rightfully so that people are going to talk about what Austin Matthews is doing and Connor McDavid's absolutely ridiculous. But as a guy who played in the league, when you watch everything that Leon Draisaitl does, how much does it impress you or blow your mind what he's capable of doing?
You know what? I don't want to say it doesn't impress me because I played with him when he first came as an 18-year-old, and I think he spent 41 games before we sent him back.
Yeah, and had like 4 points, 5 points or something, right?
But I could see him when he was that young. it was unbelievable. Like, I think it's so cool for me that I got to be on the ice with these kids, like when they were at that age. Leon was so cool. He loves to play the game on his backhand. So he's got this blade. So I used to collect, well, I used to, but I have like tons of sticks from players. And I have Leon's stick at my house in North Toronto right now. And it's like full height, full length. Like, it looks like a canoe paddle, like with a little bit of a curve on it. But he loves to play the game on his backhand. He's always looking in his peripherals, and he's so much different from Connor, right? Like, Connor's the explosive speed and the edges and all the footwork, and Leon just kind of saunters around and does his thing. But it's just crazy to see how far he's come. I can't say that I thought he'd be like as good as he was right now, but it's not surprising, to be honest, because he puts in the work on and off the ice, and he's a really good kid too.
Tommy, you look like you're going to chime in there. Did you have something to say about Draisiatl?
I mean, I didn't play with him, so it's a little bit different. I just think I remember the kid that was in Jasper for rookie camp, and we were doing a one-on-one after he got drafted. And I truly appreciate my relationship with him to this day. Like, I can shoot him a DM. He'll actually respond. And it's like, all right, he's a big dog, but he's still friendly enough. And I still remember the kid that we were doing this thing in Jasper, and we're by the Athabasca River. And he's like, how's my hair, Tom? I'm like, not good. He's like, okay, one sec. And instead of like going to do his hair in the cabin or whatever, he goes down to the river, grabs some water and fixes it. And I was like, well, this is an interesting guy, and he's turned out to be just a wonderful player to watch, and he's doing it all on his own, in his own way with McDavid. And on top of that, I really think that when Todd McClellan said to him, hey, Leon, try to be the best player on the ice. You can be the best player on the ice. I think it opened up his mind, and he just saw things differently, and he ran with it, and look at what he's doing. It's absolutely fantastic.
I remember being at the draft, how quiet he was.
But me and Gene were talking about this too. I think he has this kind of unspoken rivalry with Connor too, where they battle against each other. I think they both want to be the best, right? So if Connor is having a good game, I think it pushes Leon more, and vice versa. And I think that's great for the Oil. I think they battle against each other. Like you said, they want to be the best on the ice every night.
Yeah.
Well, to have two guys who are so tight to also have that kind of inner rivalry, that's pretty rare, man. I think, and that's going to lead to a lot of success for this team. Hey, Luke, I got to know, what's your favorite stick in the collection? You said you collect a bunch of sticks. Obviously, it's a thing. Like, I mean, you got like a Gretzky or a Lemieux or like Sidney, or what's your favorite stick?
I have a couple. That's a good question. I love Leon's. Leon's is the one that gets the most questions for sure.
Yeah.
It literally looks like it's out of place.
What the hell is this?
I have one from Ryan Smith's last game.
Right.
Nice.
Wrecked all there. And so it's that nice wooden blade. He has a nice message for me. My second cousin is Justin Williams, Mr. Game 7. So I have one from him. I think those are probably the three, and then Connor's as well. Connor has a really nice one for me as well. I don't have any of like those older legends. Like, I remember, I wish I would have asked for Ovies that night, but no, I have a couple good ones in the collection. I'll be sure to tweet out one next time I'm back at home.
Yeah, the Ryan Smith one. People in Edmonton would love to get their hands on that. I'll tell you that. That would be a big one. Tommy, let's get to the Ken Morrison Remax question of the day, brought to you by KenRMorrison.com. Remax Realtor for 20 years. He's a Hall of Famer. You can give him a call at 780-993-4815. Tommy, what's the question for us, bud?
All right, fellas. The Ken Morrison Remax Excellence question of the day is this. We saw the performance from Mike Smith last night. Mikko Koskinen's numbers over the last little while have been pretty good as well. And we hear the players talk about how they have confidence in their goalies. And listen, we could take it with a grain of salt, but I ask both of you, do you truly believe that the players in that Oilers locker room think that they can go on a prolonged run in the postseason with Mikko Koskinen and Mike Smith? Or when they say it, it's just, to give a courtesy call to their goaltenders?
Luke, you're the guest. You can go first, man.
Am I answering first?
Yeah, you can go first.
I truly believe you can. I think it's very encouraging to have a bona fide number one that you can look to every night. A Vasilevsky, I know Carey Price didn't play this year, but Carey Price. But man, look at the Oilers in 06, right? Like they used multiple goalies to get there. You know what? I think it's just the guy stepping up on the certain day, let him run with it. I don't have any problem with it. I think I'd like to have a number one, but I don't have any problem with it. I think they're going to be just fine.
Luke, do you believe that the guys in the room are in their minds? They have doubts about those guys though in net?
No, I don't think so, because I think they've all shown flashes of brilliance. Even if you had to go down to Skinny, like in the long run, let's say, you know, stuff happens, but Smitty's proved to be that guy that he's been his whole career. Mikko's played really well down the stretch. Skinny, I love that story. Skinny Edmonton kid. I expect him to be in there at some point, but whoever is suiting up and leading the boys out for warm up, I think, you know, the guys will be behind him.
Yeah, it's an interesting one because obviously Tommy and I on the radio, we see text messages from the fan base, and like the fan base is so nervous about the position. But like, I'm just thinking about like on any team that I've played on, whether it be like high school basketball or hockey or men's league or whatever, you want to have belief in all of your teammates, right? Like you don't want to go into a game being like, man, you know, our guy, I worked a long day today and now he's come to the game. We have no faith in this guy. Like, you don't want to go into a game like that. And I think for the Oilers, I think they've seen under Woodcroft that if they play a good team game, Koskinen and Smith, while, you know, not stealing the show by any stretch of the imagination, can be there to provide wins for them, right? Like as a team, they are winning. Like if they eventually get eliminated in the playoffs somewhere, are we going to be talking about goaltending? I mean, probably, but I think for that group, with what they've been able to do with Woodcroft, I think for a team's sake, they've got to believe in these guys. And I think that if they play as a group, there would be some belief in them, even if it's hard to believe for anybody watching right now. But I just think that's how a team works, man. Like, I think that's kind of how it has to be. If not, you got major issues anyway. So, but it's a good question, Tommy. I mean, it's something that we're going to discuss for the next month and a half here at Edmonton.
Yeah,
so,
exactly.
Yeah, that's a good one. That's your Ken Morrison Remax question of the day. Hey, before we wrap up, Luke, wanted to get you on to talk about what you're doing here. You got to play every day. Tell us a little bit about Maple Leads and what you got going on there, as sports betting in Ontario obviously has kind of erupted, at least on a media aspect.
I know it really has blown up here. So I'm working with Maple Leads in partnership with Coolbet Canada. So I have a Canadian-based bet per day for the month of April. You can check those out on Maple Leads and on Coolbet Canada. And then I also have a little show called Post Up that I'm working on, where I take a different athlete, or, you know, right now it's hockey players. We just filmed episode 2 with Derek Roy, ex-Oiler as well, where I asked them to their favorite food spot. And now I live in Toronto, so I'm starting in Toronto. So we'll have that out for you in a couple weeks.
Oh, that's kind of cool.
3 in the making too. So yeah, I mean, food's kind of in the culture now. So yeah, just pick a different, you know, ex or current athlete and go eat. But I'm doing the bets on the side. So just trying to get some multimedia stuff going here in Toronto.
Are you a big foodie? Is that where the food thing comes from?
Love it, buddy. Love to cook, love to eat.
Yeah, weren't you in charge of making meals for your roommates? Was that not the story? Like, that was your thing, right?
Yeah, I did cook a lot for Halsey and Connor when he moved in. I was a bit of a chef there. I always had a passion for it, so I thought, you know what, I have some free time now. Why not try to make this a thing?
Look at Gaz, man about town in Toronto, using his connections, wheeling and dealing. He's on the TV, looking good, styling and profiling. You've come a long way, my friend, since just hanging out at Cactus Club downtown. God bless you.
Jasper Ave, buddy.
That's right.
Oh, that's good. Well, Luke, good luck with everything, man. We'll have to get you back on again. It was a fun chat. Thanks a lot for popping in today, and enjoy the rest of the season if we don't chat with you before then.
Anytime, fellas.
Thanks, Gaz.
There you go. For Luke Gazdick, Tom Gazzola, I'm Dustin Nielsen. That's going to do it for another episode of the Oil Stream. If you've been watching on the live stream, subscribe to the podcast. Tommy will be by with another episode on a Friday. We will talk to you then.